Fantasy football championship banners have been hung in homesteads across the nation. But what were the calls that helped raise them and which ones hindered your chances? We reflect on our top 10 best and worst calls of the 2025 NFL season next on the IBT podcast.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fixed this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. And yes, the door has officially closed on the 2025 fantasy season. So we're taking a couple victory laps and getting raked over the coals with our best and worst takes of the year. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, already working on the crowd for what should be a sensational New Year's Eve out here in Western Pennsylvania. And join me back from his holiday out of town is my co-host. He's our NFL and entertainment betting expert here in these parts. He's also Boston's boy, Steve Lawson. Happy New Year, Steven. How was your Christmas? Did Santa deliver any championships to your doorstep?
Santa did not deliver any championships to my doorstep. It is a common theme amongst my teams. I am the Andy Reid Philadelphia Eagles. I'm always kind of in the playoffs. Pretty, always bridesmaid, never the bride. And it's just, it's fine. The holidays were great, though. The holidays were great. I got to spend it out in Ohio with my boyfriend's family. We had a lovely time, Secret Santa, gift exchanges, great food. Put on that holiday weight a bit, so gotta work that off now.
Yes, how about it?
But that's a New Year's for you, right? But I'll try to avoid the gym during peak resolution season.
Yeah. How about it? Do you do kraut on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day? Do you follow the good luck chant out here that we do in Amish country?
No, I don't know what that is. No
sauerkraut, not a big sauerkraut guy at all.
No. I got I have a very strange eating habit.
You eat like dino nuggets and stuff, don't you?
I eat I got issues with food. It's it's a strange thing.
It's a shame, my friend. You're missing out. You know who's not missing out though, Steve? It's our buddy Albert checking in saying good evening, IBT. Albert. Good evening, Albert. Great to see you. Thanks so much for making some time for us during this very busy holiday season. And as always, before we get into the program, shout out to everyone who continues to make us a part of their football and betting circle career. We appreciate you. Easiest way to support us right here is on the In Between Me YouTube channel or the audio feed. Thank you again for all the support this season, especially as things pick up around the holidays. We really appreciate that. And also a quick reminder on the community front, you can also support us here. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're giving this video a thumbs up. But on the community front, some really cool things happening as well, Steve, where we have the IBT football family now free to join. We had a swarm of new members over the weekend, and they're getting access to our analysts, any start-sit questions, any NFL betting questions they have for us, and the memorabilia giveaways for free. Also, if you want to get access to our full betting cards and touchdown call contest, you can upgrade for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. That's also going to include all the benefits we have over there in the NASCAR racing family, as well as the first season of the PGA and entertainment family launching in the new year as well. So a lot of fun stuff happening here, including a free bonus contest that is starting this NFL playoffs. We're hosting a PropDecks contest where you can build a player prop based fantasy football lineup from NFL wildcard weekend all the way through the Super Bowl. Winner is taking home a $200 Fanatics gift card. Second place, you're getting an autographed Zach Evans Ole Miss Rebels jersey. And third place will score you a free entry in our 2026 edition of Draft Night Out. That's our live fantasy football draft party in Canton, Ohio at the Fantasy Football Expo in July. Spots are limited though, but you can join for free right now. Go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat, join the Discord, and then go into the NFL Playoffs PropDecks contest channel. Huge thank you to our partner PropDecks for helping us bring this to you once again, and also making the NFL playoffs great again. So, Steve, a lot of fun stuff happening over there in the PropDecks streets, in the community streets. So, very much looking forward to that. And I don't know about you, but we have just another day or so. I'm going to wait for any stat corrections to hit, and then we're going to be naming the 2026 Draft Night Out champion out there on the internet streets.
It's amazing, right? Like winning fantasy championships, it's a feeling like no other. I would assume, since I do not have children of my own, it's similar to the birth of your child. I would assume, at least, maybe the first one, and the second one might be a little bit below a fantasy championship. But I feel like, yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, very much excited because this is not just one league we run, right? This is a collection of different leagues. And I think altogether, I think we had 14 leagues this year, 12 of those being eligible for this because we had a Dynasty one. We also had an IDP one as well. So looking forward to crowning that overall champion, seeing who comes out victorious yet again from Draft Night Out. Steve, what do you say, though, man? We go ahead and jump right into it back in the day and relive some of the good and the bad here of 2025.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but ready.
All right, let's fire it up here and back in the day.
They ain't make them like this way back in the day. Took a shot, couldn't miss way back in the day. Couldn't predict how it could all change. Don't you ever forget how far we came. How far we came. Never forget how far we came. How far we came. Remember how it was way back in the day.
It's back in the day. We are reliving our best and worst calls, counting them down from 10 to 1 from the 2025 fantasy football season. A little accountability buddy action going down here today. And Steve, I want to start off at the top where this is one that both in you and I could say call as a squad ride. I called him out as an early sleeper almost a year ago, exactly actually a year ago, December 30th, 2024. We did our early 2025 sleeper episode, and I had Drake Maye lined up there, QB 13 in the Draft Fantasy Pros ECR. I had him all the way up at QB 5. I identified him as that sleeper very early on. And I will say, though, did I expect him to finish as QB 2 overall? Only behind Josh Allen, 21.5 fantasy points per game. I did not, but I knew that was in the realm with the rushing ability, but also just how he carried this team on his arms. It was a light schedule. He made it count this season. He finished outside the top 12 quarterbacks in just 4 of 16 games, less than 25% of his outings. He, and keep in mind, one of those was a QB 13 finish in week 15. So this is a guy who won league for people in week 17, 32.4 fantasy points. He returned massive value all year long in drafts. Steve, Drake Maye, certainly one that I think IBT as a whole can victory lap on.
And we should, right? I mean, this was a guy that we identified early and is now done so well that he'll probably be a way too early bust candidate for us down the line here at IBT because now he's coming in at QB2 that just feels with really unbelievable efficiency. Like if it's sustainable, he'll be the greatest quarterback to ever exist. But yeah, Drake Maye came in and you know what? The growth, Josh McDaniel's system, it all works perfectly for him. Victory lap away. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what we saw from Drake Maye. And it was one of those situations, like you said, like where are we going to be taking him next year? Because I mean, off a 30 touchdown performance through the air, over 4,200 yards in the fantasy season. We still have week 18 to go as well. And then like, as far as the rushing, I was actually, I'd say it was pretty modest from what I was projecting. I was projecting him closer to 600, maybe 700 rushing yards, only 400 because he didn't have a ton of design scrambles, but still had 4 rushing touchdowns. So Drake Maye, like you said, can he carry out that very, very high touchdown percentage, 6.3? That is usually an anomaly in a lot of quarterbacks' career. The interception ratio low at 1.7% as well. So can those numbers balance out? We'll see. He was sensational, though, and excited to see. Like, where do you think he shakes out? Everything done and said. Where is Drake Maye going in 2026 draft, Steve? Is he a top 48, top 36 pick, maybe?
He will be a top 48 pick. He shouldn't be, but he will be.
Yeah, I would probably say like I'm still expecting Josh Allen, probably even Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts will go over him. And I think he's probably in that conversation with like Jane Daniels for probably what, QB5, QB6, maybe off the board, maybe a little earlier.
Yeah, Lamar probably should go ahead of him.
Lamar as
He'll be
well. Yes.
happy.
Yep.
He'll be healthy too. So like, yeah, at 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if he slides back to QB7, I'm back in again, right?
Yeah.
So,
Then you're in. If he's up at QB3, no, right?
sure.
Like that's the
Sure.
reality.
Sure, absolutely. And Steve, I want to highlight one of your calls of the season here. Maybe your best overall one. Your early bust candidate back all the way on February 11th was Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was the wide receiver 5 in preseason ECR rankings. I'm guilty of the charge. I had him at wide receiver 7. I was taking him in a bunch of drafts, end of the first round, early second. But Steve, you were all the way out, and for good reason. He finished at wide receiver 49, 10.1 points per game, had just one wide receiver 1 finish on the year outside the top 30 in 9 of 13 games. It was a really bizarre situation where, it seemed like at the start, maybe a little bit of case of the yips. He wasn't fully healthy. But then it just kind of continued to pile on. Travis Hunter starts breaking out. Jakobi Meyers is traded for after Hunter goes down. And then late in the season, it was really the Parker Washington show. So what do you make of Brian Thomas Jr.? Obviously, you saw this coming somewhat, but I think I would argue that even you didn't see this many other receivers becoming relevant in Jacksonville and BTJ being exactly the opposite of that, irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, there were concerns, right? Like, so I voiced a lot of them to the chagrin of a lot of the internet, right, early on, that a lot of his production came on busted plays, wide open, no one around him, deep balls that just weren't sustainable. You can't count on NFL coverages just forgetting how to cover you. And then his route running ability. And I'm a broken record on this program where if you can't run a good route tree, I'm usually pretty out on you. And every so often a season will come through and someone will have a big year and like everyone will be like, see, you don't know what you're talking about. The proof is in the pudding, right? Guys like Brian Thomas or Marvin Harrison or, name another guy that I've kind of been out on that can't run a route. And this is what happens. My concern for him was he was a deep ball maven that couldn't get open any other way, wasn't great over the middle. And here we are, right? Like, did I have him at wide receiver 49? No. I thought he force-fed more targets. Jakobi Meyers showed up, though, and said, hey, I am that guy that can move the chains in a Liam Cohen offense that is designed to do exactly that. This is not a, hey, I'm going to get you in one play kind of offense.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Down the field. And you know what? Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know what the future looks like for him. I don't even know if it's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, essentially we have a season where his production almost cut in half, right? Goes from 133 targets down to 86, 87 receptions last year down to 45, almost 1,300 receiving yards down to under 700, 10 touchdowns to 2. It feels like a bit more, and I don't want to like go out on this limb because I think Brian Thomas Jr. is still a very talented receiver. I think he'll still be in the mix for probably a 4th or a 5th round pick next year. But it feels a little bit like, hey, was that season kind of like a Chase Claypool rookie year where Claypool had 10 touchdowns? Obviously not the receiving production overall and the yardage and the receptions, but still a balloon year with Big Ben there and then kind of just faded by the wayside and turned out just to be a guy. I don't think that is Brian Thomas Jr. I think he is much more talented than that, but it does raise the alarm bell specifically because there's also a guy who really only had 1 year of collegiate production, right? 1 year, and he was playing opposite Malik Neighbors, which definitely helped him free him up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they deploy all these wide receivers with Parker Washington back next year. We also have Jakobi Meyers, who just re-signed, and Travis Hunter. So it's going to be a 4-pack of wide receivers. Plus, we'll see what happens with Etienne in the offseason if he comes back. And then Brenton Strange out there has been a really solid tight end. So it's going to be a very loaded pass-catching group there. BTJ, though, off Steve's board in 2025, maybe again in 2026. Let's go to maybe my best call of the season, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He smashes for the Seahawks. He was someone in all the mock draft episodes, Steve, that I was really taking high, as you remember. He was ranked as the wide receiver 14 preseason, according to Fantasy Pros. And then I was consistently taking him more in like that early round 2, late round 2, early round 3. And then in real drafts, kind of same thing. Like I had him inside the top 12 wide receiver. I didn't think he would be wide receiver 2 overall, like he finished, but I thought it was in the realm of possibilities. 21.6 points per game, only 4 games outside the top 12. And 2 of those were a wide receiver 13 finish. So under 13 PPR points just once. He never burned you. Steve, I know you were out on JSN pretty much throughout the season. And I will say, like, this was one of those situations for me. While I believed in the talent of JSN, I also believed in Sam Darnold, I think, more than most people. This just came back to like simple math. If you looked at like who the projected target leaders were going to be in the NFL by the sportsbooks, JSN was inside the top 10 of that. So I really thought he should see wide receiver 1 volume, and he did, and it came to fruition.
Yeah, well, this is one of your best calls. This is easily one of my worst. I mean,
Sure.
it's we'll get to some other truly abysmal calls of mine,
Sure.
but this one sucked, and I owned it pretty regularly that I was wrong on JSN. I didn't believe in Sam Darnold. I didn't believe in JSN's ability to be a big play wide receiver. I thought he was more of a slot maven. I thought he'd be, more of that wide receiver 15, 20-ish range, maybe 25. But he showed that I didn't know what I was talking about on this one. It's been known to happen. His big play ability was unreal, and his ability to get in the end zone was also unreal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just happens like that, right? I mean, listen, I thought with Metcalf gone and Lockett gone and defenses being able to key in on him, he wouldn't be able to get open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just super efficient, uber efficient on his 155 targets, turn him into over 112 receptions, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns. And as you mentioned, highest yards per reception of his career at 15.1 as well. So this guy turned into be, and like, I understand why you think he could have been a slot maven, because that's kind of what he played at Ohio State with Garrett Wilson and Olave manning the outside. And also when he came into the league, we can't forget that that's what the Seahawks initially, kind of pigeonholed him as, right? The guy who only came in on slot reps. And then last year, I thought we really saw him kind of take a step forward. And this was just another elite jump from Travis Etienne. Before we keep it moving, quick shout out to a couple of our friends here.
Yes,
Big Bando checking in with us saying, holy F, I just made a crazy trade. Let us know, Big Bando. What are you trading out there? What are you moving here? I imagine it's got to be in a dynasty type format, but excited to see what you're moving out there. And Ben giving us the wave as well. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Ben.
Great to see you. Got to shout out my boy Ben. He has been putting some good work over on the IUT website this season. He stepped up when if someone had something come up, he always filled in for an article, right? He was always going out there, turning in his own stuff on time, doing really, really high quality work for Sure Thing Sleepers. One of my favorite articles here we've run here at IBT. So Ben, thank you so much for that. All your editing as well. Very well appreciated, and always tuning in here, right here on the program with us each and every week. Next, Steve, let's get to one of your calls that was just sensational, my friend. You said that Travis Etienne of the Jaguars will be a top value pick. You said this all the way back on April 1st, one of our early ADP look-ahead shows. Etienne was ranked outside the top 85 overall, RB31. He finished as the RB10, 15.6 points per game. He was at least a top 24 play, Steve, in 13 of 16 games, only finished outside the top 36 once under Liam Cohen. I was kind of pounding the table that, hey, maybe this is a year that we see the rookie and Bashaw Tune kind of be this year's Bucky Irving, right? And other people said, no, it's going to be Tank Bigsby, who's going to play more of that plotter role, but, going to be kind of an more explosive Dave Montgomery. He was traded. And right here all along, maybe the most obvious pick was Travis Etienne, that he would be this year's Bucky Irving, and he was in spades.
Yeah, and listen, this is a situation where sometimes people get too cute with fantasy football. The starter is...
We out-thunked the room. The room.
The starter is the starter, right? And, I was looking because he was going in, round 9 or 10, and I'm like,
yeah, dude,
come on. That's aggressively low. And, it's so funny because I think back to, when Scott Fishbowl was drafting. I drafted him. I drafted Etienne. He's, my RB1. I waited and waited and waited and waited to get him. This guy does a whole write-up on my team, and I got told that I'm trash at fantasy football because I didn't draft a running back. And then there I am with, Travis Etienne and then Kenny Gainwell, which was weird.
Shout out Kenny Gainwell, yeah.
And hey, I'm a semifinalist in the Scott Fish Bowl this year. I got, I fell a little short of the championship, but that's fine. It's whatever. Yeah, thank you. And Travis Etienne, it was always going to be him. People were trying to sell me, you were trying to sell me on Tootin or Tank Bigsby. I'm like, listen, these guys were low to nearly undrafted for a reason. This is a first round running back. They are not just going to like kick him to the curb and be like, you're done. You're not good. Travis Etienne always had the tools. I think the Kansas City Chiefs should make a hard play at him this offseason because he is an RB1 in the NFL all day.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those situations where he's just coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, right? He had a terrible season last year where his production was nearly cut in half. And not only did he see a return to form on the ground, but also through the air too, right? 6 receiving touchdowns. I mean, that efficiency will have to come down next year. And I'm sure he'll be back to the point where maybe not quite where he was in 2024. He was a 3rd round pick that was almost too high to even draft at that point. But he will certainly go back up, especially if he lands back here in Jacksonville, which would probably be the best thing for him. But really good to see that season out of Travis Etienne. Great to see that call from you as well. One of my favorite calls is we had a debate show, who do you want out of this crowded backfield or wide receiver core episode? Would you rather, if you would, Steve? And the question was, would you rather take Kaleb Johnson of the Steelers or Jaylen Warren, the steady vet? And you and Eric were on Kaleb Johnson, as most of the community was, right? And I stood my ground. I took Jaylen Warren. I said, look, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to want the steady vet, right? I think he's going to be the guy. And he really was. Like, none of us, I think, anticipated. I would love to see who was the highest ranker on Kenny Gainwell, because nobody saw that coming. That he was legitimately the Steelers wide receiver 1 pretty much this year in terms of receptions and targets. It was crazy. But I mean, Kaleb Johnson was dropped by week 3 or 4. It was crazy. Warren, RB19 season, steady as they come, was a value once again, being drafted closer to RB30, Steve. So Jaylen Warren taking him over Kaleb Johnson, ranking him over Kaleb Johnson, one of my better calls of the year.
Yeah, this is again, sometimes we get a little too smart, and guys
Rookie
like Mike
fever
Tomlin,
is real.
Rookie fever is real, and we have to be careful when it comes to guys like Mike Tomlin, right? Coaches like Mike Tomlin, they are patient because he knows he's going to win. Mike Tomlin is confident in his ability. And I did not see Kaleb Johnson fumbling a kickoff in game 2.
Oh,
and then never
we went down a rabbit hole
again.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the craziest. I mean, that was an insane way to just never see someone again. I don't even know what his career looks like at this point. It was so bad.
Oh, it was bad.
So this was a great call. I mean, it was infinitely better than Kaleb Johnson, right? I mean, if you were stuck with the choice, right, at that pick, and the guy before you took Kaleb Johnson, you took Jaylen Warren, which isn't that far off.
No,
you probably won a championship or game close to you're a playoff team for sure. Well, that guy probably is missing the playoffs.
You got a rock solid RB2 as long as you got him out of your lineup that time over in London or Germany, wherever the heck we were on that Sunday morning when he was late and active. As long as you got him out of the lineup, then he was great. And potentially maybe I saw a lot of teams had Kenny Gainwell and Jaylen Warren, because after week 1 they picked up Gainwell too, and we're like, hey, let's see if I can at least have the handcuff or maybe the new Kaleb Johnson, and he really was. So great call there from myself, and a little bit of, again, getting too cute, I think, from the community as a whole. Not getting too cute, though, Steve, was one of your best calls from a betting standpoint. You had Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, top 10 NFL draft pick, winning offensive rookie of the year at 11-1. You took this on May 13th. He is currently the co-favorite with Tyler Shuck for the award. I think if the Panthers win this game on Saturday, I think there's a chance that Tetairoa McMillan takes this. If Tyler Shuck has another bonanza game, I mean, what a move for Tyler Shuck too. I mean, this guy comes out of nowhere.
That's crazy.
Too. Yeah, I mean, it really is. We were talking about Buka was earlier in the season. I had to take it on Tyler Warren, and Shuck's kind of coming out of nowhere, Randy Orton RKO style, right? But I mean, congrats to you on this one. I had Tet ranked right where he is right now. I had him wide receiver 15. He is wide receiver 15, 12.6 points per game, despite his subpar end of the season. But I honestly didn't really consider him in the offense rookie of the year market. I'm not sure why that was. Steve, what was really speaking to you, if you can think all the way back nearly 6 or so months ago back in May?
Talent. And I've compared Tetairoa McMillan a number of times now to elite talent that we've seen in the NFL in the past. And I even compared him similarly to Julio Jones. He may not be quite as fast, but he's very similar. And we've seen it. His yak ability is significant. He is a big-bodied guy with great footwork and elite top-end speed. And that is a scary combination. He's a good route runner. And when you put that together, yeah, he had like kind of an iffy back end of the season. But
Mhm.
honestly, Bryce Young had a pretty ugly back end of the season. The team kind of fell
Yeah.
apart a bit.
Yep.
And then look at when they righted the ship, though, who was the guy writing the ship for them?
Yep.
It was
Yep.
Tetairoa McMillan. This
Mhm.
team will go as Tetairoa McMillan goes. And that's why I was like, you know what? This is the rookie of the year kind of thing. I thought if it wasn't going to be a quarterback, and I didn't think it would be Tyler Shuck that would be
Yeah.
like making the play at it. I
Show
thought
us
there
your
were
Tyler Shuck tickets down in the comments
yeah,
below.
for
Let's see the
real.
screenshots,
I
folks.
need to know. Like, what was that guy? I wonder what he was going off on May 13th. He must have been going off 2,500 to 1.
Well, I remember it was very, very long at one point, and then I know it got cut shorter when Derek Carr retired. Remember, because Derek Carr was projected to be the starter, and then he
Yeah.
retires, and then I think he went from about 100 to 1 closer to like 30 to 36 to 1. So still a great value despite that.
Yeah, and it just
So
was. Yeah, it wasn't Tyler Shuck. I
well,
thought Jaxon
and
Dart
then you
had a
probably could have
chance
gone
at it.
200 to 1 after Spencer Rattler was starting the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I thought that was such an indictment on Shuck, and here he comes out, and he's been stellar, man. He's been fun to
Well, what
watch.
was crazy to me is like I should have probably put some money down on him because Rattler wasn't playing bad when he got benched.
No, but it was just like super mid. But Shuck has been good. Shuck has been
Yeah,
like,
I'm shocked, but that's what I mean. Like Rattler had them playing competent football.
yeah,
Like he wasn't bad. But yeah, Tet McMillan is just he's that dude.
yeah. Jake and I talked about last week on our Dynasty burning questions for the rest of the season. Go make sure you guys check out that episode as well if you'd like. And I said that I'm curious to see if Tyler Shuck can win this job for the future, and if he can prove he's the franchise guy. If he wins Rookie of the Year, I mean, he's got at least one more year, right? Yeah,
He's definitely got at least another year
yeah,
out of it because this is a weak quarterback class anyway. They're not
yeah.
gonna reach.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks here and quarterbacks who've underperformed coming into their career, Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I called him a sneaky sleeper back on July 15th for our late sleeper episode, Steve.
Yeah.
QB4 on the season, averaged 29.7 points per game in the fantasy playoffs, was a QB1 in 7 of his last 9 games. He was really like this year's Baker Mayfield, right? And that was part of the handicap with Liam Cohen. He set new career highs in rushing, almost 350 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. That's definitely inflated, but also threw the most touchdowns of his career, had the best touchdown percentage of his career, which is the Liam Cohen effect. That's what we saw with Baker and how Baker kind of regressed in the back half. Trevor Lawrence really took it and ran. So it was great to see this from T-Law. I know he wasn't, super playable earlier. Like he was at least like, yeah, I can probably find a better streamer option. But I also shouted him out, I think around like week 7 or 8, maybe on the Fantasy Pro Sunday night recap show, Steve, where I was like, look, Trevor Lawrence is turning in QB1 performances. If you need a guy down the stretch, he's got a great schedule. And did he ever?
Yeah, this was a call from you that did not really come to fruition until the playoffs, which hey, you know what? It came true, right? Like,
well, back half the season, because he, like I said, 7 of his last 9 games, he's been a QB1.
right, but like he would have finished probably
QB
high
12,
QB2, like
QB 12, yeah,
had he not gone nuclear,
yeah,
in the playoffs.
that's fair.
Let me tell you, in my home league, I lost to Trevor Lawrence. That I was bounced because of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
it was devastating, and I was the higher seed, and I was doing the whole thing. I had my team ready to go. Trevor Lawrence was a great call. Great call. It just was, it kind of was like this condensed, amazing thing, but that's when you wanted it, right? Like at the back half of the year, that's when you want these to hit. You don't want you don't want the Emeka Egbuka, right? Like, yeah, he won you the first 5 weeks, but then fell off a cliff. Trevor Lawrence won you a championship. So great call.
Yeah, and speaking of performers who showed out during the last half of the season, you also called Kyle Pitts out as a sleeper, and that was on April 1st. So slow start for him as well, but he did finish as the tight end 5, Steve, after being ranked tight end 12 in preseason ECR from Fantasy Pros, and he was sometimes being drafted outside the top 18, depending on what site you were using as well, and he put some people into the semifinals with that 45-point performance in week 15. It was crazy. He did somewhat let some managers down in week 17, right? A pretty dud. I think it was a 3.6er this past week. But Kyle Pitts, great sleeper call from you as well. And like I remember you saying, like, there's no way he doesn't finish better than tight end 18. I'm like, okay, but I don't want him on my team unless he can be tight end 12 or better. And well, he was.
Yeah, and again, I thought this was a situation that talent will eventually win out. I thought that at some point we were gonna get. I thought he was gonna be traded, frankly.
Hmm.
But I thought at some point a team would realize that Kyle Pitts is a matchup nightmare, and then look what happened. The Falcons' offense was dead in the water until they started turning to Kyle Pitts a lot.
Yeah. No, Drake London certainly like helped spring up his performances a little bit, but so did
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins and the return of Kirk O'Chain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kyle Pitts. If I'm not mistaken, he might be a free agent after this year. Have one more year. He might have one more year on an option potentially.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens to Kyle Pitts and where he ends up in drafts to see if he gets overly inflated once again. Steve, next up though on our best calls, we had Javonte Williams, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He was one of my favorite sneaky best ball targets on March 11th. He was going around the RB40s at the time. One of my highest exposures in best ball this season was Javonte. I will say, like, struggled a little bit to take him as much in redraft once he was getting up to like RB28, RB29 sometimes. But still finished RB11, did tail off a little bit at the end. But Javonte Williams, kind of just another guy in that Travis Etienne tier where I wish I was taking him as much in redraft as I was best ball, but really great value on Javonte this year.
Oh, it was amazing. Again, a great call that behind an offensive line I didn't trust as far as I could throw them.
Sure.
And
Yeah. Good point.
You know, they all weigh 300 pounds, so I can't throw them particularly far. It was a really, really great year for Javonte Williams. He did trail off a little bit.
Yeah, no 20-point games, I think, since like week 10 or something. So that's like the only thing that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, and it was gonna come. He's just not an efficient runner is the problem. He's scoring a ton of touchdowns. And you know what? That's what you want in best ball, though. That's what you want in best ball. You want guys who fall into the end zone. You don't care how good it looks. You want them to fall into the end zone. So this was a great call. One that I was wrong about. So I was kind of a detractor for sure.
One you were right about, Steve, and I would also call this a squad ride, was you and I were both in the mock draft staying away from Terry McLaurin, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, because he was a top 40 pick, wide receiver 18 in preseason ECR. Eric, almost every mock we were doing was taking round 3, round 4. You and I were like, no thanks. He finished as the wide receiver 58, 34th in points per game. But like part of the handicap, Steve, was like you and I were very high on, hey, dude, like you don't want these guys who are sitting out in the preseason. Like they need to, if they're not getting the reps in the preseason, they at least need reps in training camp, and he wasn't getting them. And plus there was always the potential risk that Jane Daniels could also, come back down to earth. Debo Samuel's in the mix as well. So like great call, I think, by you and I both to have no Terry McLaurin exposure this season.
Well, yeah, and last season people forget that he was touchdown dependent. I mean, he scored a ton of touchdowns.
Right.
And that was a big problem. And, I spoke as a medical professional more so than a fantasy analyst when I said, like, if you sit out these reps that get you in your body into game shape in a game that is so violent and so demanding on your body, we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. These guys sit out, they want a new contract, they want this, they come out and they get hurt. They get hurt immediately. There's those soft tissue injuries and they linger all season. And that's what happened with Terry McLaurin. It's hard to victory lap a guy getting injured, but when it was a predictable injury, that's when you go, hey, I tried to tell you. And that's what happened with Terry McLaurin.
Steve, it is time, though. We have pat ourselves on the back for long enough. We are now going to get raked over the coals.
Yeah.
Let us sound like, if you guys want to sound off in the live chat, in the comments, any bad advice we gave you this season, like this is a show to do. We'll accept it on every show. I usually try to reply to as many as I can. I need to get to, doing a better job at that. Hopefully I can get a hand maybe from Steve who can interact a little bit with the comments, especially the positive, the negatives. But this is the time, guys, to lay it all out there, because we're going to tell you where we are wrong. And I don't think it was any more wrong than this. I called Amon-Ra St. Brown a bust on July 29th. He was wide receiver 8 in fantasy drafts this season, finished as the wide receiver 5. I did predict correctly, Steve, that the Lions would fall off, right? I should have bet them instead, though, like not make the playoffs, because they did. Like the losses of the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator were pretty big for them. But Amon-Ra was not impacted at all. Target volume actually jumped up from last year, still had elite numbers. So this one was just, I think, me out thinking the room. And like, he's a guy, I think, until like he really ages out, you can't call him bust. You can't fade him possibly, really, despite whatever his ECR or ADP is going to be.
Yeah, this is one that, and I'm not going to victory lap too hard because, frankly, I know what's coming around the bend here. But you and Eric both were out on
Yeah.
Amon-Ra and high on Javonte Williams. Like that was going to be the switch. And I said that when offenses regress, they tend to lean higher on their stars, right? Those like um chain movers. So yeah, I mean Amon-Ra, I think you're right. Like you can't count him out until he ages out of this role.
No.
Which is probably not going to happen for another 6, 7 years, 8
Mhm.
years. So from now on, just bookmark him as a top
Yep.
10 guy.
Yeah, there's just some people who, unless there's a big change at quarterback or some situation like that, they're probably going to be pretty foolproof. And I think that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a guy I've loved since his rookie year, but I just didn't like the price, and I just didn't like where the lines were heading. And I was right from that standpoint, but just wrong on this guy, not doing his part for it. That's for dang sure. Also, Steve, this is a squad ride call you and I both were very bad on. You and I said on October 7th to go ahead and sell the Cincinnati Bengals pass catchers high. And oof, man, that one was tough because like our thought process at the time was that this line is so bad. Joe Flacco has been getting under pressure at the Browns. I don't think he's going to be able to overcome it. We also thought Joe Burrow was done for the year, essentially, right? And to sell high on guys like Jamar Chase, sell high on guys like T. Higgins. But Chase ultimately, when Flacco was in there, was getting peppered. I mean, we're talking more targets than he's ever even seen with Burrow, with Flacco in their finishes as the wide receiver 3 on the season. And whether it was Higgins or Burrow, it didn't really matter. Or if it was Flacco or Burrow, it didn't really matter for Higgins. He finishes the wide receiver 15. Really touchdown heavy year for T, right? Like definitely on the back of a lot of scores. But I mean, these guys, like they essentially finished not far off from what we paid for them. And I did not think that was going to be the case when we were sitting there in early October.
This one I can give us a pass on because I did not expect the Bengals to bring Joe Burrow back. I thought he was shut down for the year, and even
but they were good. They were good without him. Yeah,
they were good without him. They weren't as good without him. Like Jamar Chase had that monster game where he had like 24 targets, and there was another game he had like 18 targets, but he had like 10 catches for like 55 yards or something stupid like that. Like it was like an ugly game. And like that was a lot of what was happening. It wasn't bad. It just was not that peak. And then Joe Burrow comes back for reasons known only to him and the Cincinnati Bengals and goes insane, except for that one game in Baltimore where they all decided not to play football that day.
Yeah, right.
And then went insanely nuclear in the playoffs. So I don't know. I mean, that one was just surprising to me. I can give us a pass on that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Maybe one of my pass on the next one.
Well, before we get there, I don't think I can either. My JJ McCarthy bias, began all the way back on March 11th. I actually took the Vikings to win the division at nearly 5-1. It was a good value early on because they closed before, things kicked off. They were closer to plus 375. I already had a cash out waiting even before the NFL season kicked off on the Vikings, but I was that high on them. I just kept sitting on it, Steve, and it didn't come to fruition. Luckily, I didn't have a ton of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison exposure, whether that was redrafts, a little bit in best ball. I had some J Jettas, but for the most part, I didn't have a ton of them, but I ranked them with consensus, right? I had Jay Jettis as a top 5 pick. He was anything but. I had JJ McCarthy as a top. I think I had him 17 in my QB rankings this year. So I was just way too high on this kid. And I think it's again, I'm not going to throw in the towel quite yet. But I was very aggressive on this Vikings team as a whole for a kid who had missed his whole rookie season, wasn't even able to practice with the injury, and then also was a bit protected and insulated there at Michigan during that championship run.
Yeah, he stinks. He stinks. I don't know what you want me to say, Seth. This was a bad call, and it was just because, he stinks. And
he can still get better though.
He's not going to. The problem is that next year at this time on this show, we'll be having the exact same conversation because you're going to be like, well, I was too high on JJ McCarthy and I want you to stay with the line.
What would the line, if you and I made an in-house bet, what QB number points per game would he have to finish for you to give me the under, him being better? Would you give me if he's better 16. Than 16? Oh, that's high. That's high.
Top half.
Would you give me QB 20?
No.
I mean, QB 20 ain't bad. You ain't
QB
dog
20.
crap.
I mean, you can just playing a full season.
What about QB 18? What about split the difference? QB 18.
No, he has to be a top half of the quarterback. Like
QB 17. Give me one. Give me
no,
one spot.
no, it's 16. Like, listen, he has to just. All I'm asking is that he's a top half of the league
All
quarterback.
right,
I'm not
all
asking
right.
for much. Who am I asking him to beat out? I mean, at that point, you're like be better than Jared Goff. I mean, come on.
No, Jared Goff pretty good the last couple of years, but yeah. So that one's tough. That one was tough. I think I learned a lesson a little bit there on trusting a young, inexperienced quarterback. I just love the talent, and
Young,
maybe it's still there.
Quarterback who can't throw. It's a risky game.
And speaking of risky, it doesn't get any riskier than this. We are talking long shots on this NFL futures betting episode. So it was specifically looking for some value, some sprinkles. It wasn't like you had a full unit on this or anything, Steve, but the New York Jets, you took them to win the AFC East as a long shot, 11-1, 3-13. I mean, you just lit this money on fire, my friend. And like the New York Jets, they just reminded me the last and look, dude, like I tried to get in the waters with the New York Jets. They were kind of like my second team for a couple of years. I had a bunch of Breece Hall shares, a bunch of Garrett Wilson. We made shirts. I had I had the Frisky Jet shirt. I have a Breece Hall jersey. Like I was jet vibing for a while. But like this organization is just dog crap. Like Woody Johnson's a terrible owner. I don't know how I feel about this entire regime moving forward after the first season of it. And it just feels like they make consistently bad decisions other than maybe trading Sauce for two firsters.
I know how I feel about this regime. It stinks. It's awful. This is a situation where I look and I'm like, I cannot believe how what I didn't anticipate is that Aaron Glenn doesn't know how to coach football. And that is what really amazed me about the Jets and really hurts is because I'm like, the talent was there.
Mm-hmm.
Talent was there. This coaching staff, I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. You could go find a Pop Warner coach at any town in America, stick them at the head coaching job of the Jets, and it would probably go just as well. It was absolutely ridiculous. Helen Keller would have had a better feel for the game than these people did. It was absolutely abysmal to watch this team play football this year. Aaron Glenn should not only be fired, but never be allowed back in MetLife Stadium again for what he did. And that offensive coordinator, they should just launch him to the sun. Like it was an assault on my eyeballs to have to watch this team play football.
Well, the Jets are funny because even a couple years ago, like when they lost Aaron Rodgers that year, and I think they finished 8-8, 7-9, something like that, whatever it was. But they showed heart during that season, right? Under Bob Saul. Like they were playing for something. They looked uninspired the whole second half of the season. Peeved Justin Fields off, and that situation was sour by midseason. And just like to honestly see like this franchise collapse like this was the worst Jets season I feel like I've seen in a while. Because at least the last couple of years, they showed fight. They showed some grit. They didn't show that. I actually saw today, Steve, a graphic that if you bet $100 every week and you took your winnings and you put that back in and you bet the under on the opposing quarterback to not throw an interception against the Jets, you would have $1 million right now. That like this a defensive minded head coach, no interceptions. That is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It was an affront to my senses to have to watch the New York Jets play football.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Jets fans are going through right now. I honestly worry for some of their mental health because this was so bad. Like this is, I know I come on the show and I say some like, kind of hot takey things. This was the worst coaching performance for a season I may have ever seen. Like this is going up in the Urban Meyers, the Adam Gase's.
Oh, Adam Gase is better than this. Yeah, Adam Gase's Jets were at least
this.
Yeah.
And you know what? That London game when they got to midfield with the 2-minute warning and still didn't get a field goal off, that should have told us everything we needed to know. That should have told us everything we needed to know.
Yep. They didn't help you in fantasy. They didn't help you in betting unless you were pretty much fading them every single week. So, yeah. And the one time I did try to fade them, Brady Cook all of a sudden was thrown out and a backdoor in my team total under to hit the over. So, yeah, it's good riddance to the Jets. Good riddance to that organization.
League. They're bad.
Speaking of good riddance, Steve, you were all in on Keon Coleman in the all-in episode. He was 109th overall, wide receiver 45. So he didn't kill you if you took him.
Right.
And he had a banger week 1, right? Like he had a little mini victory lap after that and then turned right back into a pumpkin. so much that he was inactive for 4 of the Bills' remaining 7 games, including the last 2. The sad part is, Steve, is like I've never been a Keon Coleman guy just because, like, honestly, your handicap for receivers is Keon Coleman. He's not a good separator. Isn't that really good of a route runner. And I tried to even look past that at one point, and I said I was going to buy him for nothing. I was going to pick him up off the waiver wire, but spent a bunch of fab in my leagues trying to get him after he was cut on a lot of teams because, like, they have nothing else. They have Tyrell Shavers, right? Like, that's who they have playing the X out there. Lil Jordan Humphreys at times, like Bo Collins. Like, these are the other guys that they could potentially run out there, and it just didn't matter, man. Keon Coleman, a nobody.
Yeah, this is a situation where talent really wasn't the issue. Personality was, right? Keon Coleman, it sounds like from reports that I've read, found himself in the doghouse of the coaching staff in Buffalo because his talent is obviously there.
I don't know.
We saw it week 1.
Anyone can have one big game, though, dude.
Right, but we've seen it enough where I'm like, I think the talent is there. I don't know if he's going to be an elite wide receiver or anything like that, but he's certainly not a healthy scratch, talentless wide receiver. But if he's showing up late, not putting in effort, running half speed on plays that aren't designed to go to him, then yeah, I'm going to be proven wrong because I believed in Keon Coleman. I believe in the receiver. He is kind of like my exception that makes the rule, right? I don't like guys who can't separate and all that stuff. I think he can, but I'm not seeing it. And you know what? Like, until I expect him to be traded this offseason or cut entirely. Yeah, he'll be somewhere else. And you know what? I'm excited to see what happens. Maybe he grows up a little. I hope he does. And shows the world what he can do, because I was a big fan of his when he went to my Florida State Seminoles.
Well, and if your all-in call wasn't bad, mine certainly was. I was all in on an Ashton Jeanty, which on its face like doesn't sound terrible, but I had him a top 5 overall pick. He finished RB13, drafted him 101 in Scott Fishbowl, top 6 in my home league. Just didn't deliver from what I was hoping. And like, to me, like, part of the handicap was the situation, like how Chip Kelly always uses his running backs, how Pete Carroll always uses his running backs. Like, I gave you those stats, and I also bet a ton on him, right? I had him to score 10 plus rushing touchdowns, which overall touchdowns he got, but definitely not getting there for just rushing touchdowns. I had him to a little sprinkle long shot on him to lead the league in rushing. And like, you look at how Pete Carroll traditionally had used someone like Marshawn Lynch, and it was in a short goal line type of situation. But like the run blocking, and, you know, shout out to my boy Matt Peral over there from the Betting Pros podcast and the Daily Juice. Like, he kind of said it before the year, like the run blocking for the Raiders offensive line, it's garbage. Geno Smith was even more garbage than I think any of us thought. And this organization is like also still like Jets borderline level of a joke, despite Tom Brady having the keys. I thought you could kind of, you know, turn the keys and walk in and, you know, flip things around like Tom Brady, you know, TB12 does, but not the case, Steve.
Not yet, right? Like, it seems like, I mean, Brady's not the GM, right? So until he's making personnel decisions, true personnel decisions, this is going to be a mess. And it's funny, I read this interesting tidbit about the Raiders is that they have no incentive, zero incentive to be a good football team, because that stadium cost them $0 to build. Personally, Las Vegas handled all of it, and they don't have a set fan base. People will go see the Las Vegas Raiders because they're in Las Vegas. They're a destination.
They do have a fan base, but it's not a fan base that is maybe like specifically connected to Las Vegas just because
their fan base is still in Oakland. Yeah. That's the problem, and like,
and scattered.
But still, I mean, let's call it what it is. The Las Vegas Raiders. They this was not a season. I was out even with Chip Kelly. I didn't like the way that he operated. It was just doomed from the start. This was a bad football team, and running backs don't tend to do great on bad football teams.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
Jeanty.
Yeah. We'll see where do you think Ashton Jeanty's going next year? Like, probably like a top 36, top 48 pick, probably. Like, I think he's still probably going.
He's definitely a top 36 player.
Yeah.
If you get him in the third round, I think if you get him in the third round, you're still pretty happy.
Yeah, because he displayed talent, right? Like, he did display talent.
This is not an indictment of Ashton Jeanty. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I think Ashton Jeanty is an all-world prospect still. Like, I don't care. Like this year, last year, like no matter what, you could combine this last year's running back class and this year's. It's still Ashton Jeanty is the RB1.
Okay. Maybe a running back though, Steve, where the talent's not there. The rookie Jaydon Blue, you had a little bit of a love affair. You shouted him out in multiple episodes throughout the year, and the rookie out of Texas, he was ranked 150th overall in preseason ECR. Finished as just the I don't even have a number for him because he's so low. Just 23 touches on the year.
Yeah, me and Jaydon Blue finished with about the same amount of rushing yards this year. So this was a situation where I was more
There's more of a fate of Javonte, I feel like.
It was more of a like I cheated on Javonte, right? Like this was a situation where the starter was old and kind of ugly and mean, and so I saw this young, sexier thing out there and thought that's what I'm gonna do, and hence my love affair began. And then it turned out that Jaydon Blue had crabs, and now I'm sick with it. It's just that. Thank you, Ben. That's great to see as well. I really appreciate the help there, kicking me while I'm down.
Yeah, I think Blue had more inactive games than fantasy points. That's a good one, Ben.
Yeah, Jaydon Blue, he's staying. He'll be cut. Like it's whatever. I'll own that one.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but I think it's also one of those situations. We started hearing reports out of rookie mini camps that he was potentially a little bit of like a head case, right? Like you can go to say like just wasn't traditionally like putting in the work you want to see a rookie put in.
Louis Vuitton cleats.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. So yeah, I just he was a scat back out of Texas. I just he had a couple big plays down the stretch, but he's a burner. But I mean, maybe there's a chance. I don't know if he'll be cut, but it's definitely going to be tough for him. Maybe another one of my terrible gambling calls. So
this shouldn't even make this show. This shouldn't even make this episode because we told you it was bad at the start. We told you it was bad right then and there.
Look, so the play here, folks, was we're going out on a cash out, right? A cash out is when you bet something in a long shot future mark, specifically at FanDuel. And if you capitalize on some value, like I also did a 200-1 to Cam Scattaboo rookie of the year. And at one point he was down to like 8-1. And I was getting a pretty generous cash out before they ended up pulling it after he got hurt. But that was a play here of the Titans. Like I were kind of just expecting them to maybe be this year's like Commanders team that kind of was strong, came out of nowhere with a rookie quarterback. But I guess I just had too much faith in the Callahan family. I really thought they were a pretty good football-minded family. I had more faith in this roster than I gave it credit for. I thought Alec Iomanner could step up as the wide receiver too. I thought Calvin Ridley could be a guy when he was around. He was not. Tony Pollard had a lot of faith in. So I was just really high on the Titans in general. And honestly, it all came crashing down. I think where I misstepped, Steve, is like one, betting on the Titans, and two, like also like I should have just gone up a tier like the Jaguars or the Bears, because the Jaguars and the Bears were probably out there to win the Super Bowl at 100-1 or more, especially the Jags. They're probably 150-1 or something. So I just need to go up a tier and maybe and I was high on the Trevor Lawrence. So I think I just got over my skis a bit too much here on the Titans. Flew too close.
Yeah, never trust a Nepo baby. Like that's the lesson of the day, right? Like his dad was brilliant. Dad's a great offensive line coach, but he stinks. Brian was not talented, got his job because of his dad.
Joe Burrow too, but yeah.
But like for real, like it just is what it is. Very few people are the Shanahan family, right? It's not like we don't see dynasties of coaching too often. Like the Kubiaks, the Shanahans, sure. But like, Nick Sirianni's kid in 20 years coming up, I'm not like excited about that. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where like just don't trust a Nepo baby. That's all.
You can always trust Dale Jr. I don't know if he's a Nepo baby, but definitely.
You and Dale Jr. hasn't he's not even like the best driver of his generation. I don't even know NASCAR, and I know that.
He's the most influential, though. He's the most influential. And
okay,
most
well that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I trust Dale Jr. I trust Dale. Praise him. Praise
He's
hell,
famous
baby.
because of his dad.
Well, we can get into that another time. We got a whole separate program for that where we only praise Dale. So you can turn in resignation with that type of remark. But let's keep it moving here. Steve, you were saying to buy high on Keenan Allen. That was October 7th. And after week 6, then he went on to finish as the wide receiver 42 on the season as a whole. Never had double-digit PPR points since week 7. What went wrong for Keenan Allen down the stretch? Was it one of those situations that hey, the Chargers, they just couldn't overcome all the offensive line injuries? Or was it Keenan Allen kind of ran out of gas and we started to see more Trey Harris mixed in with just kind of an overall underperforming group out of the Chargers?
I think it's a combination of offensive line injuries, Herbert broke his hand, and Keenan Allen's 100. I think all those factors added together to create a disaster. I see the thoughts on a trade coming in, so I'm curious what this trade is. He's teased it now for
twice,
the better part of an
twice.
hour. So yeah, please drop it. But yeah, Keenan Allen, he's old. It's probably the end. He passed Antonio Gates. He did what he needed to do. He's a legend forever.
It's funny because this year, Steve, he did the opposite of last year. Last year, he was terrible to start. A lot of people dropped him, and then he went off down the stretch. And this year, it was the opposite, where he was great to start. Everyone was trusting him, and then at the end, he was droppable.
Yeah, I don't know. Age catches up to you quick. It's a mean thing. Yeah. It's a cruel thing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I say he's old. He's my age, right? I think he's 32. I'm 31, but still, I just said 32. I just aged myself up a year. Oh my God. I'm 31 years old, but like, not everyone's in peak physical condition like I am. You know what I mean? Like I haven't lost a step. Keenan Allen clearly has. It's a joke for everybody listening, but nonetheless.
Last one here, and then we're going to get to a trade question from our friend Big Bondo. Rachaad White, I called him as a league winner on November 12th. I mean, just terrible. This is absolutely atrocious because after that day,
the RB1 to the RB3 on his own team.
Yeah, the day after that, Bucky Irving returned to practice, so it was already a cold take. That week also, Steve, Sean Tucker had his blow-up 3-touchdown game. Also, then White goes on to finish as the RB32 down the stretch. Never had double-digit PPR points in any of the next 7 games after I said that. Was the RB49, 5.9 points per game after week 7, or whatever week that was, the last 7 weeks. So, wow.
That's pretty brutal. Yeah, it's pretty rough. That's
that
rough
was
for you,
bad.
Buddy. I'm not going to pile on. That's rough for you.
Yeah, it was a tough look. So, I just kind of fell in love with the receiving production. Luckily, I saved myself on a similar take with Kenneth Gainwell later. Similar archetype of back, right? But yeah, it was that was tough. That was a tough one there. And not tough maybe is this question from Big Bondo TV. He just traded Danny Jones, T. Higgins, Laporta, and a 2028 first for Josh Allen, Chig Okonkwo, and a 2028 third. Talk to me. So, I mean, it's early in the process. The 2028, like if I had to put a 101 in the 2028 class, it's probably Malachi Toney for me. So I think that's who I would pick of the Miami Hurricanes, the freshman wide receiver there. Bryce Underwood probably would get some looks. I imagine he would probably be up in that conversation as well. So, like, I don't mind you moving on the 28 first. Also, if you're in this position, you're probably trying to win now or at least win next season, right? With Josh Allen. But to me, like, there are a lot of question marks about Laporta next year. T. Higgins could be on a different team in 2 years from now still. Daniel Jones is coming off a significant injury and is aging. I don't hate this trade by any means, Steve. I hate giving up the 28 first, like, more than anything, to be honest with you. But I still think it's really good.
Yeah, and he just said that he just lost the championship, so now he's adding Josh Allen to get himself to try to get over the hump.
This is a super flex, I'm imagining. Like, I'm taking this as a super flex question.
So. If it's not a super flex, this is a
then
bad
you got
trade.
Cooked, but yeah.
Yeah, like if it's super flex, I think you cooked. I think we let you cook with this one.
Yeah, it is super flex. Only had Dart and had to play Rivers for the ship.
So you got Dart and Allen going forward. That's pretty good, especially with Daniel Jones. Popping in an Achilles. So
I'm cool with this.
Like it.
It's even. Like, it's even, and you got the best. You got the most valuable person in the trade, and that usually is what wins it. Like, Josh Allen to me is still in a super flex, the 101 consensusly. So I'm very cool with this move. Like, T. Higgins, if we were doing a super flex, and I'm sure we'll do some over the offseason. So make sure you're subscribed, Big Bondo, for when we do some dynasty content as well. Specifically, we'll do like a super flex startup draft, and like, I bet T. Higgins is probably like a 6th or 7th round pick in that, maybe a 5th, like maybe a 5th. He'd probably go.
Yeah.
But like, outside of that, like the thing I want the most on that team is the 2028 first, which you can find more picks in the future. So you'll be good, buddy. So nice trade for I think our friend Big Bondo there, Steve.
Yeah, I think it was great. Great job.
And Steve, great job for you, not just here tonight on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast, but all season long. I really appreciate you riding along with us as well as our other co-hosts as well, and Jake Perry and Eric Romoff, and of course the occasional stylings of Tyler as well. So great stuff overall. If you've rode with us this long, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got fantasy football and NFL betting content, college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and to enjoy the ride along the way. Also, be sure to check out in-betweenmedia.com for some dope written content. Join the Discord for free right now. So, Big Bondo, if you have any more Dynasty questions for us over the offseason, go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat. You can enter in on the Discord right there. And you can also then join our free postseason PropDecks tournament. So make sure you guys are getting invested with that. You can take home a Zach Evans Fanatics or Zach Evans signed jersey if you're in second, a Fanatics gift card for $200 if you win, and a free 2026 Canton Draft Night Out entry. So a lot of good stuff happening over there. Again, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. The link is in the episode description as well. A lot of fun stuff happening, Steve, and the NFL postseason just continues to roll on, man.
Yeah, super excited for that and for all things like entertainment betting and everything else we got going on here at In Between Media. I'm psyched that our new friend is he's tuned in. Look at that.
Let's go. Let's go, Big Bondo. I appreciate that.
Always good to see a new friend add on. I encourage everyone to do it because we're here every week. We could bring you the best analytics in the game, I think.
Best analytics, best hijinks, specs, mix of lifestyle and pop culture.
Pretty.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
I want to go that far for myself, at least. I can't speak for you, but look, man, I've always said it from the start. Like, if you want great fantasy football advice, maybe we're not your place. But if you want good fantasy football advice mixed with a good time and somewhere that, can really just help you enjoy that journey from A to B in life, whether that's in your fantasy football leagues or, just the walk that we continue to go throughout our, journeys on this earth. So that's what we can kind of provide for you here. So make sure you guys are hanging around with us. We appreciate y'all so much. We hope you have a great New Year's. Be safe. Make sure if you are consuming some adult bevies that you also have a driver home, or you just use your 2 feet like God intended, baby. So thanks for watching again. Happy New Year, and keep it in between till next time, y'all. Thank you.